All right, we got a steam line repair today. It seems like it's pretty early in the season for this, but whatever, I'm about it. Boiler season is right around the corner, and I'm ready for it, baby. Now, I'm going to give you some tips if you got a steam boiler, because people with steam boilers seem like they just get new information from every person that ever comes inside of their house. And I think that a lot of people don't know what the hell they're talking about. So the number one thing that I see people doing is draining their boiler down and putting new water in it. Like clockwork. People tell me that they go and drain their boiler 4 times a year. Do not, for the love of God, do that, all right? Fresh water is a killer of a steam boiler. Fresh water is a killer of all boilers. When you introduce new water to the system, you introduce new oxygen. New oxygen causes rust. It's not that complicated. If you want to do something productive and you want to fiddle with something, you can go down, let a little bit of water off of the bottom of the boiler, let the muddy stuff go. When it runs clear, stop. I usually fill the boiler a little bit high in the beginning of the year if I service it, and then this way you could do that 2 times during the winter time. Now again, this advice is just for homeowners, really. If you got commercial boilers, it's pretty different mode of operation. But same idea, you don't want a lot of fresh water. Anyway, I know this is going to fall on deaf ears anyway. If you like the content, you want to see more, follow the page, turd. All right? See you on the next one. All right, it's another water heater day today, guys. Look at this. Pay attention. I'm going to show you the fastest way to drain a water heater. It's not what you just saw right there. Now, this A.O. Smith water heater is from 1996, which means it's 27 years old. There was a couple of different A.O. Smith water heaters that were made at that time that lasted for a really long time, and needless to say, they don't make them anymore because they don't make as much money. So, take that into consideration when you're buying literally anything at all. Everything now is built to fail sooner so that they can make more off of it. Now, here's the fastest way to drain a water heater right here. Just drag it up the stairs full. Go ahead and knock that drain off. Done. Everybody talking about Milwaukee transfer pumps and stick a piece of PEX. Fuck that. Just drag it up the stairs, take it outside, smash the drain off. You're done. I'm just kidding. Don't break your back. This one was in the garage. Now, I want to go over a couple things with you guys because a lot of people were telling me to do different things in the comments of the last water heater that we did. We don't need to put expansion tanks on every single water heater. The only time that we need to use expansion tanks is if we have a check valve or a pressure reducing valve, because that's the only time that we have a closed system. In a closed system, when we're heating water, we need to account for expansion, therefore expansion tanks. Pretty simple concept. We also don't need to use vacuum breakers on every single water heater. I know some places they make you use vacuum breakers on every single water heater. We only have to use them when the water heater is above the fixtures. So, if the water heater is not above the top of the fixtures, there's no risk of a vacuum, therefore no vacuum breaker. See, it's nice. The people who make our codes, they know why things need to be done instead of just doing things for the sake of doing them. Also, safety pans to protect from leakage underneath the water heater are optional unless the water heater is located in an area where leakage could cause structural damage to the property. In the case of this garage, it is not. If it was on the second floor, it would need a pan. Anyway, hope you learned a lot. There is one thing here, though, that may fail inspection, but I bet that you can't spot it. Anyway, see you on the next one. Come with me and install this Turbo Turd Shooter 10,000. As you can see, I have a Kohler toilet bowl in here, and nothing makes me happier than throwing a Kohler toilet bowl in the garbage. And the best thing is that the customer is totally stoked about getting rid of this toilet. She doesn't like to see her turds just meander and float around. Hell no. Her piss pot is a no loitering zone. She wants to see her turds blast off like an Apollo spaceship. And I don't blame her. Yesterday's lunch is old news today. Now you can see I was having a really hard time getting this thing off. My next step was going to be to take a sledgehammer to it if it didn't break free. I still wound up breaking a little bit of glass on the floor. I don't know if you saw that. Now I want you to understand, when I'm doing things like this, I really do wonder why I ever advocated caulking a toilet. But then I get over it and then I caulk the other one anyway. Now look at that, all cleaned up. Isn't that beautiful? I get a lot of people that ask me why changing toilets and taking toilets off and stuff like that is so expensive, and they always have the same excuse. It's just 2 bolts. Well, if you just want 2 bolts, I can give you 2 bolts. It'll be a lot cheaper. But if you think you could do it yourself, I don't know what the point of dragging a guy with 3 kids and a mortgage out here was. You know what I'm saying? Like, sorry if I don't want to end up like you, broke ass. So here we go. Here's the Turbo Turd Shooter. We're ready for the flush. I don't have a seat on or anything yet. I don't think I'm going to put one. This thing's built for speed. Squat and go. Look at that. Blast off, baby. Anyway, see you on the next one. Welcome to another day of nonsense, everybody. The other day that I said one of the worst things to work on was a Kohler toilet, but then I forgot about Saniflo toilets and pedestal sinks, which is what I walked into today, which this was done by us. And actually, if you look at it, there's a Studer vent up there that's actually done the right way. It's pretty cool. But the guys who were here from our company, they roughed in the toilet and they put all those vents and stuff together, but then they never did anything with this sink or the slop sink on the other side. And come time for the finish, they're nowhere to be found. So I know that you noticed that drain is definitely sitting at a little bit greater than 1/4 inch per foot, right? I'd say it's just a bit more. It's just pitched a little bit more. But I really recently adopted the mentality of it's not my circus, not my monkeys. Oh no, wait. I'm going to get banned on Facebook for saying that. That's like animal cruelty or something, right? Like captive monkeys for entertainment. I mean, even if it's not on social media, you don't really have grounds for any sort of actual appeal. You could just get demonetized, and then, they still continue to profit off of the stuff that you didn't get deleted. But anyway, I'm harboring a lot of resentments today. I'm not in a very good mood over this whole thing. So, just a piece of advice for you guys. If you are plumbing in a pedestal sink, now I know that I said that the guy, he didn't pipe this in. This was already there. But your best bet is to put a fitting right up to the sheetrock so you could do a street trap adapter. You don't have to do that whole thing with the internal cutter. Not that would have made this thing look any better. I mean, look at that. Hold on, it takes me a second to get that in there. Look at that. I actually called my boss. I explained to him, if you want me to fix this, I have a terrible back pitch on this laundry drain, and I can't lift this other pipe up without affecting that laundry drain. In order to fix it the right way, I'm going to have to take this whole drain out. I'm going to have to cut the TY. I'm going to have to drop the drain down. I'm going to have to extend the tailpiece for the slop sink. I'm going to have to drop the drain for the lavatory down, and then I'm going to have to revent it. And he said, nah, fuck that. If it don't leak, just send it, Bob Senderson. I said, you got the right guy. I am Bob Senderson. So anyway, I put the Saniflo toilet in. If you want my opinion on this, it's probably the worst thing that's ever been invented in history. It's the equivalent of taking a dump into a 2-gallon bucket with a blender motor inside of it that will inevitably just stop working and then fill the entire bucket part and the entire bowl all at the same time, leaving you not with 2, but instead like 8 gallons of total shit water. And that's just going to happen repetitively until the day you die. Now, I didn't get off easy on the sink. I had to change the faucet. I told the customer to go get a Moen faucet, and he was like, I'm going to look for a repair kit. And I was like, you better go to the fucking store right now and get the goddamn Moen faucet. But anyway, here it is. It's all done, guys. See you on the next one. All right, it's 4:30 on a Friday, and that's when a call like this usually likes to come in. So we got a clogged sink, and obviously we see this piping down here under there is not in the greatest of shape, but it's 4:30 on a Friday, so I'm going to give it a try to snake it out. And it wound up to go exactly how I expected it was going to, with the pipe broken out from inside of the wall, which is what you would expect at 4:30 on a Friday. And I forgot to wear my belt on this day, so you're just going to have to deal with that. But luckily for me, this kitchen is not very complicated. It's really easy to take this cabinet out. But I don't have a vent for the kitchen sink or the lavatory. Look at that sludge. If you got galvanized drains, this is pretty much what they all look like. Even if you snaked them a million times, they're still always just going to look like that. Now, I went the extra mile and cleaned the hub out. I'm already late for dinner. Doesn't make a difference to me. And I put a hub gasket in there, replaced the whole drain. We got a Studer vent. Come around the corner, replace the drain for the lavatory. Very nice, professional. Look at that. And that's a job well done, ladies and gentlemen. See you on the next one. All right, it's a boiler day. We're going to be fixing a boiler today, and this thing has been a problem child since the day we put it in, and there's a reason for it, and I'm going to go over that later. So this is actually a combination boiler, and a combination boiler does heating and hot water. A lot of people mistake it for a tankless water heater, but in reality, it's just a very small indirect water heater. Now, the two parts that I'm going to be changing are the diverter valve and the flow sensor. The flow sensor is actually good on this one, but the diverter valve is bad. The diverter valve is just a mechanical valve that switches the boiler from heating to hot water. And the only reason I'm changing the flow sensor is just vicinity. It's kind of in the way. If I'm taking it out, I might as well just put a new one in. And it's relatively simple to change all of this stuff. It's all pretty much O-rings and screws. You saw I took 2 screws out and pulled that piece out of there. I just had to assemble the motor and the valve, and that was it. The flow sensor's even easier. It's really just 2 O-rings and it pops right into place. Now, I got all this stuff done, and I'm going to tell you right now, it wouldn't be a Bosch if I didn't turn it back on and then have another problem with it. So here you can see normal operation. My boiler's in the 130s. All of a sudden, it starts climbing to 199, which actually is not the boiler's fault this time. It's actually a blocked flat plate heat exchanger, and this is the 3rd time it's happened, and I'll show you why it keeps happening. So if you go and save this video and then open it in CapCut, you can actually remove the grimace shake. Fuckers. All right, here we go. We got a waste and overflow that a handyman tried to put in, and it didn't work. He was, I guess, working on it all night, and he couldn't get it to happen. And then these customers decided that they wanted to fix the 3-handle shower. I guess it was leaking behind the wall as well. Now, it's Friday afternoon. I don't like to do jobs like this on Friday afternoon, but they were kind of in a bind because this was their only bathroom. Now, remember when I told you that my boss really likes to save money? Like, he really likes to save his money and make sure that he has all of it all the time? Well, he does this really cool thing, right? He does this thing where he goes and takes stuff and puts it on the shelves and does it in a manner that would make you think that it was a brand new box of supplies. However, it's not. So the Price Fister rebuild kit that I had and I pulled off the shelves at the shop that looked to be brand new turned out to have none of the right parts inside of it at all. Well, I can't say at all. It had about 50% of the stuff that I needed. It actually had the stems inside of the box replaced, but they were not the right kind of stems. There was 2 diverters. One was Gerber, one was Price Fister, and then there was one more stem that was Gerber in the Price Fister box. It's kind of like getting rickrolled. You ever heard of getting rickrolled? That's how it feels. Like I got rickrolled. Except this isn't a joke. This is a real thing. So I went back to the shop and I got the right parts for the faucet. I pulled them out of a pile of about 3,000 stems that are mostly missing the packing nuts and the washers on them. And I picked the best ones that I could find. When I turned the water back on and turned on the faucet, I could not get the water to stop coming out of the tub and shower at the same time, so the diverter that I pulled off the shelf was bad. Luckily, I had the right diverter in that box in the first place. But lo and behold, I got rickrolled again because I didn't count the handles before I left to go get the stems. Looks like we're going to see you on Monday. Well, since you guys love the warranty work so much, here's another warranty job for you. This was a repair that was done by us actually in 2017. And the guy who did it, when he put it in, basically the customer was having problems with it kind of like every year since then. Now, the only reason that he didn't say anything or force anybody to do anything is because he's friends with the boss and he didn't want to have to put that responsibility on him. Which I kind of had to step in and say, listen, this is fucked up. This is your friend. He's a nice guy. If this was some screaming idiot that was acting like a piece of shit that we hated, we would have already done it. So that's a whole conversation of a whole nother code of ethics thing that we could get into. But I personally don't like treating shitty people well and good people like shit. You know? Plus, I knew the guy who did this job in the first place, and I've done countless numbers of his callbacks, and they're always big ones like this. When he fucks up, he goes big with it. Plus, the excavators that he was using at that time were jerk-offs. I hated those guys, and they were always in a rush to get out of there. So they probably hit the pipe with the bucket, and, maybe they covered it up. Maybe they didn't even know about it, but that's definitely what happened. But on a lighter note, I got a call from the gym today saying that I won a raffle. I won like a Yeti cooler and some other stuff. It's pretty sweet. I just want to make a point of that for all the people that say, like, oh, karma's going to get you in my other videos. Like, they don't even fucking know me, bro. I give good, I get good. Plus, I have, by and large, the sickest mohawk around town. I'm like a big rooster or something. So check it out. We got this all together, and I put this Fernco on there. This is an asbestos cement by PVC Fernco. And I worked really hard to get a bunch of copper and stuff into the dirt. I shoved a bunch of copper pipes inside of there. I'm just trying to inhibit the root growth. I wrapped the copper pipe around the edge, and then I'm going to case the whole thing in cement. So I got Dave putting this bed in there, and I'm just going to cover that whole thing in concrete. And that's it. See you on the next one.